Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you have had a good week and you're looking forward to a fantastic weekend. Students, in this class we are looking at IELTS Writing Task 2. And we are looking at a question that deals with the connection between humans and nature. Welcome, Sarah, our chat moderator. Welcome, Tan, one of our members. This is a members chat class. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. The question that we will look at today for this task 2, to write a Band 9 sample essay and to give you some strategies, is right here. This question was submitted to us by one of our members, Chayani, who had this question for the IELTS exam just a few weeks ago. So hi Chayani, I see that you're in the class. Here's the question that you sent me. And again, members, you have the privilege to send me requests for lesson topics for members chat classes, so keep that in mind. Again, this was submitted by Chayani, and this was a question on the exam. So we will cover it today, and I will get you thinking on it as I introduce the class. So let's read it together. This is IELTS Task 2 writing. You should spend 40 minutes on the task. That's true. Okay. The question reads, human activity has had a negative impact on plants and animals around the world. Some people think that this cannot be changed, while others believe that actions can be taken to bring about change. Discuss both and give your own opinion. So it's one of those both sides and your opinion. Now, many students, many members watch the classes regularly, so you know the first few steps. You know that the first step is to paraphrase this question and to start thinking critically about the answer. So while you're doing that, while you're paraphrasing, while you're thinking critically, while you're gathering the vocabulary, I'm going to introduce the class for the rest of our viewers. This lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Both of those websites have tons of information to help you succeed on IELTS. This is academic IELTS here. Click that big red button to join the premium package. It's just above my head there. It's a one-time payment. It's lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center, and we have been helping students pass IELTS for over 15 years. So click that button. You can use this code SOUND9 from a new video that we just released on YouTube on our channel, so make sure to subscribe. Use the code SOUND9 and you'll get a 10% discount from our full course package, so check that out. For general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. It's the green background. Click this big red button here to join our premium package. Again, it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. It's gieltshelp.com, so check it out. aehelp.com for academic, gieltshelp.com for general. You can send me an email if you have questions. My email is adrian@aehelp.com, or you can send an email to admin@aehelp.com if you have questions about IELTS or our products. We've got listening practice after this class. We'll have listening parts 3 and 4, and then we'll have speaking part 2 and 3 tomorrow. When you have a minute, check out this new video for speaking practice. It is really, really helpful. There it is in the chat. All right. Okay, we've got lots of members in the class today. That is fantastic to see. So let's get back to this writing task 2 question. Again, this is the question we're dealing with for this class. It's IELTS task 2. You should spend 40 minutes on this task. Again, human activity has had a negative impact on plants and animals around the world. Some people think that this cannot be changed, while others believe that actions can be taken to bring about change. Discuss both and give your own opinion. Okay, so let's do this. So first steps first, paraphrase the question. Okay, step 1, paraphrase the question. The reason we do this is so that we get clarity on the ideas. We start thinking about the question and we start to get some useful vocabulary. So get ideas and get vocabulary. Okay, so I'm going to paraphrase the question. Paraphrasing means to say the question in another way. Now, everybody can join in on this who's a member right now. Of course, to become a member, you should click the join button next to the subscribe button. Sarah, feel free to jump in on this as well. So it's lovely that you're moderating, but of course, you're here to improve your thinking and your language as well. So everybody can get in on the fun, okay? So paraphrasing means to say the same information in a different way using synonyms, descriptive language, antonym, negatives, grammar, okay? So let me show you how, for example, with grammar we can paraphrase, okay? So fauna and flora, okay? So flora are plants and fauna are animals. Okay, the diversity, and it's actually a very nice way to paraphrase this. So fauna and flora. So notice how I'm not starting with human activity, but I'm starting with fauna and flora. Have been, right? So here I'm kind of reversing the start of the subject here. So the question says human activity has had. Here I'm saying fauna and flora have been, so affected, right? Negatively, a really nice word for negatively in this context is adversely. By the actions of people globally, right? So one way that you can always think about paraphrasing in English is to just reverse the subject and object in the sentence. It's a good way to practice. Yeah. Domenico, I know that this topic is right up your alley. There's another idiom for you there. It's right up your alley. And unfortunately, it's familiar for many people because a lot of us see this decimation, this negative impact on the natural world around us. Okay, so certain individuals believe that this cannot be reversed, this, let's say, negative impact or this damage cannot be reversed, while others feel that initiative instead of actions or initiatives can be implemented, can be started to create a positive outcome. Okay. Explain both views and give your own perspective. Okay. So that's good paraphrasing here. And then you should write at least 250 words. For task completion, you need minimum 250 words, but usually more. Okay, So step one is to paraphrase. Here is my paraphrase. Again, when you're paraphrasing and you're practicing at home, be sure to read the original question, read your paraphrase, make sure it's sensible, make sure it's accurate. Okay, so human activity has had a negative impact on plants and animals around the world. Some people think that this cannot be changed, while others believe that actions can be taken to bring about change. Discuss both and give your own opinion. So fauna and flora have been affected adversely by the actions of people globally. Certain individuals believe that this damage cannot be reversed, while others feel that initiatives can be, let's say, taken to create a positive outcome. Explain both views and give your own perspective. Sometimes you see me change words like this one here that I kept changing. I keep changing it to make it sound more natural and accurate. Okay. Sarah says, actually, I have got a similar topic in my IELTS exam, but it was about the impact of plastic, something of that sort. It was quite hard for me to talk about. Raquea says certain individuals, certain, you usually use an S, Raquea, it's plural. Certain individuals believe that it cannot be reversed, while others feel that initiatives can be taken to create a positive outcome. Okay. All right. Good. So students, viewers, this is not your introduction. Okay. This is not the introduction for a strong essay. This is simply to understand the question, and it can be used in certain parts of the essay. Often like in the conclusion. Okay? More than the introduction. When you just paraphrase a question to introduce your essay, it's weak, because you have not done anything except shown a person that you can paraphrase. You have not actually shown the person that you're truly writing a captivating, persuasive essay. Okay? So you want to think critically about this. So what, why, how, right? About the topic and controlling idea. Now, obviously, you have to understand the topic and the controlling idea. So what's the topic here? What are we talking about? Before we jump into any essay, we have to know what we're talking about, right? There's no point to writing an essay if we don't clearly know what we're actually discussing, what we're focusing on. And you can't just be focusing on this and that. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I'm focusing on nature, I'm focusing on animals, I'm focusing on humans and civilization and pollution. Yeah, no, that's not going to be a clear essay, okay? The reader will just kind of go, what? What are we talking about here? So you need the clear topic. What are we talking about here? Raquea says human activities. Not quite. Welcome, Joao. You're almost in time. No worries. Fuang says human activity on the environment. Close, Fuang, but not exactly right. You need to be precise, okay? This has to be precise. Your topic, you have to practice being very precise, especially when you get to university. Precision matters. Okay, matters a lot when you're identifying the topic. So let's get the clear topic. Joao says it's impacts that mankind has had on nature. Yeah, but what kind of impacts, right? It's not any impacts, it's a specific type of impact. Chen, much better. So Chen says environmental exploitation. Okay, I think that's probably the closest one so far. Simply Chen, because you've included the negative element, right? So yeah, I mean, if we don't want to get too fancy, Chen, we can just say damage done to nature by humans. Okay, or we can simplify it more and say humans' damage on nature, or human pollution, right? So it's not the effect of human activity on the environment, but it's the damage. You have to think about the negative, right? So damage done to nature by humans, that's what we're talking about, right? And what's the controlling idea? So simplify. It's extremely difficult to write it's not extremely, it's virtually impossible to write a good essay without having clarity, okay? Yeah, so Joao, human detrimental impact on nature, right? Not just on anything, but on nature specifically, right? And if we want to be even more specific, then damage done to not just nature, but plants and animals, right? Because nature, I mean, we don't really want to write an essay that's talking about the ocean and the air and the land, because that's also part of nature. But the question's really focusing on not pants, but plants and animals, right? And so the controlling idea, that should be a little bit simpler. Once you get the topic, the controlling idea should be relatively straightforward, right? Not living beings, Joao, because humans are living beings as well, and we don't care about humans in this case. Okay, and we're focusing really on plants and animals. So we're not really, I mean, insects or bacteria, not really on those, right? So controlling idea, we are discussing of, can this be changed or is it too late, right? Those are the controlling ideas that we're focusing on. All right. So, now here, let's just jump to the what's and the whys, right? So here, like I say, we think about the what, why, and how, right? Especially in this case, okay? So what is the damage done to plants and animals? Okay? And this is why we want the topic to be specific. So we don't want to put what is the damage done to nature, but we want the question to be what is the damage done to plants and animals, so that we're very specific. What is the damage done to plants and animals? Now, keep in mind, you have about 300 words, so you can write books about this. You need to focus on the major issues, right? Extinction of species, right? Chayani, not just animal extinction, but plant extinction as well. So it's the death of species, both plant and animal species. Destruction of habitat. Yes, that's right. So where plants and animals live, right? Domenico, we have turn the wild into tame doesn't really make sense because taming the wild is a very human concept. It doesn't really exist and it doesn't make sense in this context, so I would not go that direction. Okay. Extinction of species, destruction of habitat. Okay, what else? I think, there's another really important word that comes to mind here for me when I'm thinking about this, and especially when I start to think about these 2 points, the extinction of species, right? So certain types of animals and plants no longer in existence, the destruction of habitat, then a very important concept comes into mind. And this is one that most people forget. And this is one of the biggest dangers of or one of our biggest existential threats. Okay. Existential threat means the threat of existing. The existential threat with us killing plants and animals, and this is what unfortunately humans don't realize, that we're basically cutting out the tree from under ourselves as well. When we kill certain types of animals, when we kill certain types of plants, what happens? So what I want you to do, everybody, is visualize. When you're planning, you need to visualize, okay? When you visualize the death of certain types of plants and animals, especially existential threat, for instance, what I would do is visualize the death of algae. What will happen? We kill algae, something will happen. Not just global warming, Raquea. What will happen? This is an existential threat for all life. What happens? Domenico will know this. He studied biology. And I think whoever thinks about this, so keep in mind, students, that a band 8, band 9, even a band 7 requires good thinking, especially if you're in the academic IELTS. Just because you might have a good English skills doesn't mean you can get those scores if you're not thinking critically. And unfortunately, our egocentric perspectives sometimes get in the way of this very important critical thought that we should have, right? Destruction of, it starts with an E. Continues with a C. So Slow Sunset Vibe says, how do you develop critical thinking? Joao, there's lots of ways, and I'm showing you simple ways here with the what, why, how, and visualizing. So you go further and further down the thought pattern, right? So Joao, when I'm thinking extinction of species, I don't just think of tigers and panda bears, but I think of big and small, right? So it's a good question, Joao. So that's right, everybody. Now you're getting it as ecosystems, right? So think big to small always, okay? It's a very important part of critical thinking, okay? So big to small, macro to micro. We often forget that we're extremely dependent on the micro, right? It's the irony of existence. Macro does not exist without the micro. So if you visualize the death of algae, what will happen? It will be a systemic failure of all life on Earth. Same with certain types of mushrooms dying or certain types of bacteria. The bees, for example, right? So bees, fungus, algae. We cannot survive without those organisms. Life on Earth as we know it are dependent on these small creatures for survival. Does everybody agree with that, right? So the destruction of ecosystems is of critical issue here, right? We are a part of those ecosystems. We eat. When we go to our fridge and we grab a tomato or we grab a pepperoni, that only happens because there are ecosystems in the world. As technologically advanced as we are, we cannot replace ecosystems, okay? So this is the damage. If we talk about the damage done to plants and animals is the extinction of species, destruction of habitat, destruction of ecosystems via pollution, right? So we do this by polluting and we do this by using nature, right? Okay. So let's just jump here. I get it. Some of you are thinking, Adrian, on the IELTS, I've got 40 minutes, so I have to think fast, and you do. You have to think fast on IELTS. The key is to learn at home before IELTS to think fast and ask and answer the right questions, right? So that's what I'm here doing. I'm training you to do that. And that's not just the IELTS, it's a big part of life in general, right? Okay, so here, let's just jump to the why question and the critical thinking elements or the controlling ideas for this essay. So why do some people think that the damage to plants and animals cannot be reversed. Why do some people think it's too late? Keep your thoughts simple. Okay. Reflect, relate to this idea. That's why setting a strong foundation, so having good ideas at the beginning, is extremely important. So having this answer here, that extinction of species, destruction of ecosystems and habitat is, what we have done as humans to animals and plants. So why do some people think that the damage to plants and animals cannot be reversed? What's the reason? What do you think? Keep it simple, right? So don't overthink it. Again, it's IELTS. You're not actually writing your master's thesis here. Think about it. Joao says, because humans cannot replicate natural life. So we cannot create an artificial ecosystem, is what you're saying, Joao. Again, I think that's a bit too complicated, Joao. We can keep it simpler than that, okay? All right. So keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate. I want to see a couple more answers before I give you the answer. I want you to think. Raquea says, because certain species are extinct and cannot come back. Yeah, but Raquea, think about it. I mean, dinosaurs are extinct, and a lot of species became extinct before human action as well. So there could be a simpler approach to this. Keep thinking about ecosystems. Romelia, welcome to the class. Okay, so I would say here something like... So humanity has reached a point of no return, okay? Too much pollution to stop the death of plants and animals. Okay? So some people think there's just simply too much pollution. It's too late. You can't clean it up. We're not fast enough. Humans do not have the speed or the technology to stop this pattern of death and destruction, right? The ecosystems are too damaged to fix, right? So some people say it's too late. These ecosystems, they're beyond repair. We can't fix them, right? We've reached a point where they are basically done for. There's just no coming back, right? So that's kind of the argument that you're going to hear from people, right? Think about the friends or family or teachers or the news media that you've talked to or have heard and what they have said. And, some people are very pessimistic and they say, we're done. All right. Okay. And you can think about, how is this happening? Okay. Too many cars. Bees are dying. Right? Just some simple examples. All right. Now, we want to ask the same about the opposition. So the other side. Why do some people feel that we can change for the better to save plants and animals? Okay, so what do you think? Okay, Domenico, that's kind of an example, right? The extreme weather conditions. But again, Domenico, remember, this is IELTS, right? So, and you have about 320 words, over 250, but you don't have 2,000 words. So talking about extreme weather patterns and conditions, I think it's I think it's too much. It's off topic. It's like if I'm writing a much bigger book on nature, then again, weather patterns is a little bit distant from, or climate change is a little bit distant from plants and animals. We've got 250 words. Let's focus on just plants and animals. The question isn't asking us about nature in general. It's asking us about plants and animals, right? Okay, so some people feel that change. Okay, so Raquel says because we can grow more plants and use degradable products or environmentally friendly products. Okay, so we still have time to change our behavior to be in harmony with nature, right? We can use technology to repair damage. Okay, sure. Now, here is where you have to make your own decision, right? So remember, the question says, give your own opinion, right? So it says, discuss both, right? And give your own opinion. Okay? So I'm one of those people that likes to believe that hope is the last to die. Especially that I have 2 small children. So I like to think that hope is the last to die. So I'm going to go on the positive side here. So I think we can save plants and animals. Of course, not the ones that have gone extinct, but we can. Okay, so I think humans are amazing creatures. We are capable of great deeds as long as we do them, right? Unfortunately, sometimes we don't do them until the very last moment. So might not be able to save all humans, might not be able to save all plants and animals, but I think we'll save some in the end. We'll just see how many. So we can save plants and animals, just we need to have quick and global change. There's still many plants and animals around the world, okay? But we need to act fast. All right, Joao says, I think unfortunately greed will be more important than saving the planet. Yeah, well, Joao, hopefully you're wrong. Hopefully. Okay, so thesis. Okay, thesis statement. If you don't know what a thesis statement is, you should not sit the IELTS exam, okay? This is a clear and direct sentence at the end of your introductory paragraph that tells your reader your key points for discussion in your essay. Okay. First point. So point 1 should be the side that you do not support. Point 2 should be the side that you do support. Okay. So in this case, obviously, I'm going to start with some people believe that the planet cannot be saved or plants and animals. And then I'm going to discuss the opposite, which is the belief that plants and animals can be saved. Now, when I write the thesis, I should always pay attention to the original question. So human activity has had a negative impact on plants and animals around the world. Some people think that this cannot be changed, while others believe that actions can be taken to bring about change. Here's my paraphrase, and it was a good paraphrase. Okay. So the thesis can make use of the paraphrase as well. Okay. Watch what I can do. So I've just put the word although in here. Okay. Although fauna and flora, now you know that fauna are animals and flora are plants, so I'm going to take this out, have been affected adversely by the actions of people globally. This can be changed by positive human action. Okay, so there I have my positive side. Now I need my negative side, right? So here I can do it with 2 sentences, and I'm showing you this technique here, and then I'll show you another technique for the thesis as well. So many pessimists feel that it is too late to save plants and animals because ecosystems are beyond repair. Okay? And then my second part here, although fauna and flora have been affected adversely by the actions of people, globally this can be changed by positive human action. Okay, so that could be a thesis statement there. It's a 2-part, 2-sentence. So this is point 1. And this is point 2. And I'm using my paraphrasing to do it. Excuse me, just at the end of this cold here. All right, and I need a comma here because I have the dependent clause first, right? The subordinate clause first, okay? So this is an okay thesis. This gives clarity for my reader. It's definitely better than saying that this essay will discuss both sides and give my own opinion. That doesn't tell the reader anything beyond the question. Okay, so write your thesis statements, members. I'd like to see some thesis statements here. It'd be great to see. All right. Okay, and now to make this even better, we could do a combined we could do a combined one, okay? Pessimists are people who are pessimistic. Pessimistic means to have a negative view, okay? So a pessimist is a person who has a negative approach to a situation. It's kind of the same word, I think, in many languages, but anyway, there you go. So write down new vocabulary, students, when you see it, okay? So many pessimists feel that it is too late to save plants and animals because of extreme pollution and broken ecosystems. However, optimists feel that now I include myself here, okay? So this is your 1-sentence thesis. That's why it's a little bit trickier. You have to use a bit more punctuation, a few more commas. Feel that with change in behavior and technology, flora and fauna can be saved. Now, the word saved, I'm repeating it here. Save, saved. Okay. So, to come up with a synonym, when you're at home, when you're using your computer, you can use the review function. You can hit thesaurus, and then the thesaurus comes up on the right-hand side. Okay. Can be protected, can be kept, can be stored, can be salvaged, can be recovered. Yeah, I like the word recovered, so let's use that. So thesaurus is good to get ideas when you're practicing at home so that it comes naturally when you are on the IELTS or in the IELTS. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Rockway, protected will work as well. So there's a thesis statement, and now we're good to go. Now that's a band 9. That would be considered band 9. Okay. Level thesis. This would be considered, this previous one, maybe a band 8 at best. Okay. And if you're doing this, okay, some people feel it is too late to save plants and animals. Others think that they can be protected. This essay will discuss both and give my opinion. This is a band 5 to 6 thesis statement. Okay, so just so you kind of see the range of scores here. Okay, and you can clearly see why, right? So this one, not a lot of thinking, just a bit of English. This one, a fair bit of English, a fair bit of thinking. This one is not just a fair bit of thinking in English, but also an understanding of essay writing. That's the difference, okay? So, because I know a lot of you are thinking, well, why? Okay, this only shows that you have some English skills to paraphrase the given question. Okay, this thesis shows that you have English skills, shows that you have English and thinking skills to understand, interpret, and answer the question. Okay, this final one that I'm showing you, why is it a band 9? Band 9 means expert, is because it shows that you have English and thinking skills to understand, interpret, and answer the question, as well as a clear understanding of standard literature and essay writing. Okay, so that's why it's a band 9. Does that make sense, everybody? So what's the difference between a band 5, 6, band 7 to 8, and a band 9? Okay. Rajveer, nice to have you join in on the class. So Rajveer says, believe that with a quick global change to employ environmental friendly practices, flora and fauna can be safeguarded by humans. Rajveer, passive voice. Okay. All right. So we write the introductory paragraph. Okay, it has a hook, background, and thesis. All right, hook. So the hook is the hook is an interesting, simple, interesting statement that catches the attention of the reader. Okay. And if your IELTS trainer is telling you that you don't need a hook on the IELTS, they're not really clear on what you need to do to give yourself a good chance at a high band score. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you don't need a hook, you don't need a background, you don't need even a body paragraph, you don't need anything. You can just write a word, right? But the question here is not what you need or what you don't need, it's what you should write. Okay, so the question you should be asking is, what should I write? Okay, so if your teacher says, well, you don't need a hook on the IELTS, your question shouldn't be like, what do I need? Okay, the wrong question is, what do I need for IELTS Task 2? Okay, that's the wrong question. Okay, the right question is, what should I write to give myself the best chance for a high score? Okay, and if you ask this question, then the answer should be from any knowledgeable IELTS teacher that, well, you should have a standard essay. Okay. That includes all parts, such as the hook. Okay, so that's the right question. Right? Everybody got that? Hopefully. So here's my hook. Work on a good hook. There are a million. And the other reason to have a hook is a hook should not be difficult. When you understand what a hook is, that should not be difficult. Plus, a good hook really gets you focused on the topic, right? So notice how I changed my hook a little bit to include human activity, because I remembered, oh yeah, my topic is human activity affecting plants and animals negatively, right? So the hook here is, the death and destruction of plants and animals around the world due to human activity is evident. Okay? Or we can even say is extensive. Now, when you're in university or college, this is where you want to continuously rephrase, rewrite, and not just focus on good grammar, but focus on using the best words, the best ideas, right? So it's not just evident. Evident means it's clear, it's obvious, but it's not just evident, it's not just obvious, it's extensive. Like, we see it that there's lots of it. There's like a forest missing, there's a bunch of dead animals there. So it's extensive, right? Rajveer writes, it is a bitter truth that a lot of flora and fauna have become extinct due to human activity. Yeah, absolutely, Rajveer. That's a good one too. So the extinction of plants and animals as a result of human activity is extensive. That would be a good one too. Death and destruction is, of course, a synonym of, or paraphrasing, extinction. Okay. What's the importance, right? So what are the definitions here? What's the importance? Okay, every day, many species of flora and fauna become extinct. And this threatens all life on Earth, right? So this is the background, right? This is our definition. Our definition is basically the extinction of life on Earth, right? And the importance. It's a threat to all life. Hopefully the reader realizes that means human life as well. Sometimes I wonder. So the background, okay? So the death and destruction of plants and animals around the world due to human activity is extensive. Every day, many species of flora and fauna become extinct, and this threatens all life on Earth. Okay, now I can take my thesis and just plop it in. Okay. So that's what a Band 9 introduction should read. So here we go. Reread it, test it. When you're at home, you're always testing your writing. You're always checking it. Okay, so the death and destruction of plants and animals around the world around the world, I don't like it. I'm going to change it to globally. Due to human activity is extensive. And I'm going to I'm going to take out the death here. So I'm going to simplify. I'm going to teach myself to simplify my hook. So the destruction of plants and animals globally due to human activity is extensive. Every day, many species of flora and fauna become extinct, and this threatens all life on Earth. Many pessimists feel that I'm going to take out many just because I have many before, and it's okay to have pessimists. Pessimists feel that it is too late to save plants and animals because of extreme pollution and broken ecosystems. However, optimists, including myself, feel that with change in behavior and technology, flora and fauna can be recovered. Okay. I've got a lot of flora, fauna, plants, and animals, so I'm going to go living world. And this is why it's good that I changed the entire world to globally here, okay? Domenico writes, it is undeniable that the death of many species of animals and plants is triggered by an often recited litany of human-caused disturbances. Domenico, it's okay. It's a bit wordy for a hook. Notice how instead of trying to make my hook longer and more wordy, I made it shorter and less wordy. Okay, always work on having a shorter, less wordy, more punchy type of hook. Okay, the hook for your essay should feel kind of like a punch for the reader. So it should kind of be like you've got this tired reader that's like, oh, life is boring, another day, another dollar, and then they see this article or this essay that you wrote, and they're like, the destruction of plants and animals globally due to human activity is extensive. Bam! They're awake, okay? Does it have that effect? Okay, on the IELTS, if it's not that effect, you can still get a band 9. In your master's thesis, if you don't have that effect, think about it again. Okay, so if you want to get an A+ on your university essays, your hook should be a punch for your reader. Okay, all right, body paragraph 1. Body 1. So body 1 now deals with the first point. Okay, the first point here is pessimists, okay? Extreme pollution and broken ecosystems. All right, so, you know, those two are not necessarily separate, and we need the topic sentence. We need the explanation. And we need the example. And then you also need a connecting sentence or a concluding connecting sentence just in body paragraph 1, okay? So here, the topic sentence has to be extreme pollution, broken ecosystems, okay? So what does that mean, all right? We need to expand that in our topic sentence. All right. So let's do that. Members, I know that I'm just like, you know, throwing the English at you. I'm just filling your heads with ideas and new words and new grammar. And I hope that you're picking up as much as possible. Remember, everyone, these are recorded classes. So this is, you know, this is a live stream, yes. But it is recorded, so you can go back, and if you find some parts confusing or unclear, you can go back, check it again, see what's going on, slow it down a bit. The reason I'm telling you this is because I would like you to practice as well. So when Chen writes, certain individuals believe that destruction done by people to flora and fauna cannot be fixed because of the irreparable ecosystems. However, some optimists optimistic people, including me, think that this can be changed by effective steps taken for sustainable development. So when you write that kind of thesis statement, that's great. And Chen, I really appreciate you for writing that. The advice I can give you after reading that, Chen, is it's really good. You have some really good ideas, some very good words there. I think that you can make it more concise. So when you have that kind of writing, Chen, you want to focus on more concise language. So I want you to practice your writing, okay? And Domenico, I want you to practice selecting the key pieces that fit this essay, okay? So here we go. Topic sentence, okay? So land, air, and water pollution has resulted in the death of many important species of plants and animals, which connect the chain of life. Okay. Now, that topic sentence, is it good? Yeah, it reads good. Is it great? Not really. Why? Because I have to continuously remember that this is due to human activity, right? So land, air, and water pollution, which is created by human consumption and manufacturing. Manufacturing precedes consumption. It's like the chicken and the egg. So order of information is very important, right? And now I have a better topic sentence. So land, air, and water pollution, which is created by human manufacturing and consumption, has resulted in the death of many important species of animals and many important species of animals and plants that connect the chain of life. Okay, so that's my topic sentence. All right, now my explanation. Okay, so what's going on here? Indeed, some people feel that this pollution is so extensive that humans do not have enough time to clean it up before a systemic collapse of all living creatures. Okay? So that's the explanation here, right? Because we keep remembering the original controlling idea that some people think it's too late to change. So indeed, some people feel that this pollution is so extreme, this pollution and extinction is so extreme that humans do not have enough time to clean it up or to fix it before a systemic collapse of all living creatures. An often recited fact is the inevitable extinction of bees, which are a critical part of the global ecosystem as they pollinate plants, right? Sarah, good question. So Sarah's asking, is it necessary to have a connecting sentence? Not always, Sarah. So sometimes the connecting sentence is unnecessary, especially in body paragraph 2, because you don't need to connect to the conclusion. The conclusion is kind of like the glue that connects the essay anyway. So that's why I don't recommend thinking about a connecting or concluding sentence for body paragraph 2, or the body paragraph that's before the conclusion. But for body paragraph 1, if you have time and if needed, you kind of feel like, okay, I need this here, then it's a good idea. So at the end of body paragraph 1, it could be a good idea. Body paragraph 2, unnecessary. So it's kind of tricky. You have to kind of feel it, Sarah. Does it need a connecting, concluding sentence, or do my body paragraphs flow and connect without it, right? Like, does it fit without it? Okay. All right. So here I'm going to add a connecting sentence. This was my example. Now here, okay, let me review this and show you immediately what comes to mind for me, all right? So land, air, and water pollution, comma, which is created by human manufacturing and consumption, comma, because it's an additive clause. It means I'm adding that piece of information to the sentence, has resulted in the death of many important species of animals and plants that connect the chain of life. Indeed, some people feel that this pollution and extinction is so extreme that humans do not have enough time to fix it before a systemic collapse of all, instead of living creatures, simplify, of all life. An often recited fact is the inevitable, means unavoidable, cannot be avoided, extinction of bees, which are a critical part of the global ecosystem as they pollinate plants. Pollinate means they transfer the reproductive cells of plants from one plant to the other. So they help plants to reproduce and prosper. So they're the major pollinators on Earth, right? And we hear that without bees, that will be an issue. Now, if I want to make this even better, I realize that in my example, I'm missing the human activity. An often recited fact is that human use of chemicals has led to the inevitable extinction of bees, right? So, and you don't have, like some people say it's not chemicals, it's a fungus that's killing them, that's a result of human activity and so on. You don't have to have the perfect facts. You're not writing a master's thesis. As long as it's sensible, as long as it's arguable, it's fine. So an often recited fact is the human use of chemicals has led to the inevitable extinction of bees, which are a critical part of the global ecosystem as they pollinate plants. Nevertheless, there may be ways to have a bright future yet. Okay, so that's my connecting sentence. It's going to help me roll into my second body paragraph, which is the positive side. Okay, it's the positive side, and change in behavior and technology can help save plants and animals. Okay, which basically means life, but plants and animals are the topic here, okay? So now I can write my body paragraph too. Give me a topic sentence, everybody. So Domenico is writing a topic sentence for the previous paragraph, for body paragraph 1. Everybody, try to write a topic sentence for body paragraph 2. Let's see what you come up with, okay? So again, I know I'm putting a lot of information in your lap, and a lot of English. By the way, if you don't know a word, ask me. You can ask me in the chat. This is a members chat class, so everybody who's watching, it's great that you're watching. It's great that you're learning. You can become a member of the channel simply by clicking the join button. And when you subscribe to the channel, you can join the subscriber chat classes. We've got one of those coming up after this class in about a little less than an hour, and that will be listening. So definitely subscribe, okay, if you're not going to be a member. While I'm giving you this little advertising spiel, I'm waiting for the topic sentence of body paragraph 2 from everybody. Topic sentence, everyone, just for those of you who are not clear, is a deeper thought or a deeper definition of the thesis points. So in this case, what do we mean by change in behavior? What do we mean by technology, right? So Domenico says, by developing infrastructure for green technology, we could still restore the environment. Yeah. Okay, so good. Yeah, Domenico, that's a good start. I think that's a good start. Anybody else? I think that's a great start, Domenico. I like it. Okay, you're introducing new vocabulary, a deeper concept. You're defining the concept of the technology that we're discussing. Try to give a little bit more, Domenico. So use that sentence, rephrase it, and also add the concept of behavior somehow. So what do we mean by behavior? Okay. So what change in behavior? And you don't have to overthink it. Okay. So this is what Domenico wrote here. Okay, I'm going to grab that while everybody else is thinking. So I'm slowing us down a tiny bit here so that you can practice a bit as well. Okay. So this is what Domenico wrote. By developing infrastructure for green technology, we could still restore the environment. All right. Let's take that out. Green technology is fine. I would just say environmentally friendly. And we can explain what that is, right? Because the explanation's coming after. So by developing environmentally friendly technology and okay, Raquel says we can use green products and environmentally friendly products to save plants and animals. Yeah. Okay, Domenico says wean ourselves off carbon-based fuels. Yep, that's environmentally friendly technology. So that's kind of your explanation or example, Domenico, when you're talking about environmentally friendly energy sources. Sure, to save, again, plants and animals, keep it focused on plants and animals. So by developing environmentally friendly technology and showing greater respect for plants and animals, humans not could, let's be optimistic, can restore biodiversity. Let's throw a nice high-level word in there. Biodiversity means the many different kinds of plants and animals that exist on Earth. So by developing environmentally friendly technology and showing greater respect for plants and animals, humans can restore biodiversity. Okay, now we've got a nice topic sentence that gives a bit more definition. Again, it's the IELTS, so you don't have to overthink it. In your university, your professor might say, well, it's not detailed enough, or you need to maybe give it even more of a different perspective or deeper perspective. But for the IELTS, for a band 8-9, this is perfectly enough. Okay, So then we need the explanation. So let's explain this, right? Okay. So this is the topic sentence. And now we need an explanation. Give me an explanation. So what do you mean by developing or implementing? Instead of developing, we already developed a lot of environmentally by implementing. Environmentally friendly technology and showing greater respect. What does that mean? Explain that. Okay. Chen, again, looking good, but be more concise. Instead of with more and more, just say with greater implementation of sustainable development and use of environmentally friendly products, comma, a positive impact on the restoration of flora and fauna can be achieved. Okay, so Chen, it's a good topic sentence. Be concise. Okay. All right. So let's explain that. What do we mean by implementing? Okay. So okay. So within the next decade, now humans must convert all energy resources from those that pollute to those that minimize damage to plants and animals. Okay, so I'm just kind of throwing this in there. I think it can use some work. We can use some different words. We can make it sound better. However, there's another point that I want to bring up here. Let's take a look at this. So within the next decade, humans must convert all energy resources from those that pollute to those that minimize damage to plants and animals. Decade means 10 years, right? Who feels that we need to, change this within 10 years? Who feels that we need to change this within 50 years? So let me ask you in a different way. How much time do you think, so Sarah, Raquia, Chayani, Domenico, personally, how much time do you think we have to change our behaviors and to change our technology before it is too late? So what do you think is that threshold? Okay, if you think it's already too late, then fine. But if you think that we still have some time, how much time do you think we have? 1 year, 5 years, 50 years, 100 years? How much time do you think we have before it's too late? Domenico feels 100 years. Chayani says maybe a century. Raquia says 10 years. Okay, how much time do you think we have? I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious how much, what our viewers think. Domenico says between 50 and 100 years. Sarah says maybe a decade. Yeah, I think Chen says maybe 20 years. Okay. Yeah, this is actually a very interesting fact you might think about a bit. Romelia thinks it's a matter of just years. That's scary. Romelia is a biologist as well. So notice how it's different. So different people have different ideas. It's a personal opinion, right? It's your opinion. Unfortunately, nobody really knows the answer to this question, but we definitely all have some opinions. Nobody's thinking more than 100 years. This is personal, right? And remember the original question. So in the IELTS, you never want to be lost in your own ideas, okay? It's very dangerous because you will get a lower band score. You always want to remember the original task 2 question. So here, the original task 2 question is discuss both and give your own opinion. Now, when I see the essays from many students, sometimes their own opinion is only in the conclusion, okay? So it is not good to do that. it is bad to introduce your opinion in the conclusion only. Why? So why is it a bad idea in the IELTS to introduce your opinion in the conclusion? A lot of people, what they do in the IELTS when it says discuss both sides and give your own opinion, they write the essay and then in the end they have the conclusion. Okay, and then in the conclusion they say, so in my opinion, there is still a bit of time for people to help save plants and animals. Okay, so we're really looking at a low band score here. Why is it a bad idea? What do you think? Why is it a bad idea to do that? To write an essay, the essay is discussing this, discussing that, and then suddenly in the conclusion it says, in my opinion, there's still time for people to help save plants and animals. Okay? Why is that bad? When you do that, okay, realistically, and as an author, as a good author, you should always think about your readers, okay? When you give your opinion, when you suddenly give your opinion, at the end of your essay, it surprises the reader and they are not sure what to do with it. It's very awkward and often unwelcomed. Okay? Does that make sense? So if you're giving your opinion at the very end, if you are the reader, think about it, right? Then you're kind of like, so in my opinion, there's still, what? Where did this come from? Right? It's like, that's really the reaction that you get in your head. You're like, what? Where did that come from? Right? So you have to kind of piece by piece feed it to your reader. Okay? So you definitely want to have it. It's a good idea to have it in the introduction, right? So, however, optimists, including myself, so these two words here are so very important to immediately start hinting, start giving the idea to your reader that this is your opinion. You've got an opinion in this essay. This isn't just this objective essay and then suddenly at the end it goes, wham! Okay, that's like... So the hook, when it catches the reader's attention, the hook, it's a good punch. When the conclusion catches the reader off guard because it's your opinion and it's like a bam, it's a bad kind of slap or punch. They're like, what? So here you want to introduce your opinion in the beginning. You want to show that, okay, in this essay they asked me to include my opinion, so I'm doing that. Okay. And saying I will give my opinion is not good enough because we don't know what that is, right? So here I'm actually telling the reader that I'm an optimist and I think that the world can be recovered. Now, when I get to body paragraph 2 and I'm writing by implementing environmentally friendly technology and showing greater respect for plants and animals, humans can restore biodiversity. I, along with others, believe that in the next decade. So notice, remember how I asked you, do you believe, how much time do you think we have? We have a year, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years. That's the subjective part. So when the essay is subjective, especially when the information is very subjective, then introduce your subjective voice again in that context, right? So this essay is clearly first person because I introduced the first person subjective voice in the introduction. So here, as soon as the piece of information becomes very subjective, the next decade, I'm introducing my subjective voice in this opinion. Right? So I, along with others, believe that in the next decade, humans must convert all energy resources from those that pollute to those that minimize damage to plants and animals. Example. Indeed, it is critical that all fossil fuels are disposed of and replaced by nuclear and solar energy in order to restore forests and ecosystems. Okay? And then I can even take out forests, just ecosystems. All right? So that's my example. Okay, and here I introduced, instead of in my example, I introduced it in my explanation, because my explanation here is subjective, right? So now I don't need a connecting concluding sentence, because this will suffice. This is enough. But I should read my second body paragraph to make sure that it makes sense, okay? So by implementing environmentally friendly technology and showing greater respect for plants and animals, humans can restore biodiversity. I, along with others, believe that in the next decade, humans must convert all energy resources from those that pollute to those that minimize damage to plants and animals. Indeed, it is critical that all fossil fuels are disposed of and replaced by nuclear and solar energy in order to restore ecosystems. Does that make sense? How I moved through the essay from the introduction to the thesis to the expanded opposite side of it's too late to change to now the side where I'm saying there is time to change. It's not a lot of time, but there is time to change. And this is my personal opinion. And now I conclude that this is what's happening. And this is the overall take-home message. Okay? All right? So that's the conclusion. So the conclusion, again, might be able to use your original paraphrase. So let's go back to the paraphrasing of the question. And it can definitely use some of this planning here as well. Okay. So here's my original paraphrase again. Okay, let's write a better conclusion. So, in conclusion, fauna and flora have been affected adversely by the actions of people globally. Although certain individuals believe that this damage cannot be reversed, I and others feel that initiatives can be taken to create a positive outcome. However, there is not much time, and humanity must act quickly. Okay? So here is my points restated. Here's my argument strengthened. And here is my take-home message coming out of my last paragraph. Okay, so again, this question was submitted by Chayani. This was a question on the IELTS exam just recently for task 2. And ideally for that Band 9 essay, these are the steps that you are taking to achieve the ultimate score, the expert user and expert thinker level in English. Okay. So there's the whole essay, and as long as you know the steps, as long as you practice the steps, and as long as you understand the reasons for why essays are written like this, it makes a lot of sense, and it's not impossible. You just have to practice it, and you have to make sure that you read the essay when you're finished, and you check it and you improve it, and everybody can improve their writing continuously. So the most important first step is learn to write essays accurately and correctly. You've got lots of information for accurate, correct essay writing on the websites. So go to aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Go to gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Review the writing sections. Okay, so when you are on the website and you purchase the premium course by clicking those big red buttons, so either one of those, you will have that interactive course. In the interactive course, in your My Student account, okay, you will have a writing section. Okay. By the way, everyone, you're going to notice that the websites work a lot faster right now. We have much faster servers going on right now, so check them out. We're finishing some upgrades, so lots of good things happening. So you go to the full online course, and then in the full online course, you have this writing section lessons, and you have lots more there, everyone. Okay. All right. Raquel, you're very, very welcome, and you're very, very welcome, everyone. I hope that really, really helped you. For general IELTS, check out gieltshelp.com. It's this website here. Again, just simply click this big red button to join the premium package there. I will be back in about 30 minutes with listening section, part 3, part 4. That will be a subscribers chat class, so subscribe to the channel so you can join the chat and hit the notification button. And we're going to use our websites for the listening. So if you like these classes, if you're here regularly, definitely sign up for the premium course, because it's going to have all the exams, all the materials to really enjoy these classes to the fullest, okay? Sarah, thank you for moderating the class. Thank you for giving some advice, okay? And hopefully I will see all of you in the next class. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria for now, but I will be back in half an hour with listening, practice, and strategy. Bye for now, everyone. See you soon.